Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl as we continue on with our Warhammer The Old World content and the main rulebook. And now we're looking at troop types in detail, which is broken down into two parts. And you might go, hang on a minute, we've already looked at troop types, and we have. And it's one of the things I've noticed in the rulebook is that there are areas where it gets repetitive, but then they add additional rules. So I was thinking, oh, well, I don't need to do this. We've already covered this earlier. But then I delved into it, and there are actual more rules in this. So I'm kind of not sure why they covered troop types earlier on in the book. To be honest, it would have been better if they just kept it in one section, because you might read troop types and then think, that's it, I know everything I need to know about troop types, and yet there's all these additional rules. So actually, it is important that we do go into detail on these troop types, because there are very specific rules tied into those troop types. And that's what we're going to look at now. So don't skip this part. And in fact, the troop types in detail is way more important than the troop types and stuff that you encounter earlier in the book. And in reality, I don't think it should be there because I think it's going to cause people to potentially miss important things, particularly if they're not familiar with the game. But okay, let's continue. So categories of troop type. There are 5 main categories of troop type, each of which is further divided into subcategories. Now, a model's troop type determines the maximum number of such models a rank must contain to claim a rank bonus, the maximum rank bonus, and the unit strength. And then on top of that, the subcategory also has its own specific rules. So, starting off with infantry. Regular infantry. Now, it's 5 models per rank. To claim a rank bonus, you get a maximum rank bonus of +2, and it's a unit strength per model of 1. And you can see the picture on the right-hand side there, some dark elf bleak swords, who are regular infantry. Now, heavy infantry, it's 4 models per rank to get your rank bonus, a maximum rank bonus of +2, and a unit strength of per model of 1. And this is the first of the rules that are specific now to heavy infantry, and why we need to go into these troop types in detail. So, steady in the ranks. Heavy infantry, arrayed in either close or open order formation, does not become disrupted when engaged in the flank or rear unless the enemy unit has a unit strength of 10 or more. Now, that's actually a really cool rule, and you're going to have to now have you're not going to be putting in sketchy small units into the sides of heavy infantry and getting benefit from that. So you're going to have serious units to be able to cause that disruption to heavy infantry. So a really nice rule there for heavy infantry. So, if you're thinking of taking something like a unit of hammerers, they're probably heavy infantry. Seems like that could be a pretty nice thing to have. Okay, so now looking at monstrous infantry. So its models per rank is 3, maximum rank bonus is +2, and a unit strength per model of 3. Now, they get a rule called clumsy. Clumsy means that a unit with this rule can only be joined by a character that also has the rule clumsy. So if you want to join something into monstrous infantry, you also need to have a character that has the clumsy rule. Now, swarms, you can see some swarms on the right-hand side there. So models per rank, none. Maximum rank bonus, none. But they do have a unit strength per model of 3. So no rank bonuses. You don't need a certain number of models per rank or anything like that. But they do have a better unit strength. However, so they do have a bunch of special rules. So insignificant. Line of sight can be drawn through swarms as if they aren't there, and swarms are ignored when attempting to target enemy characters. So actually, that line of sight thing could be really cool, having swarms moving ahead of your army, could do all sorts of funky move blocking things. So it really does put some emphasis on swarms, which in the past have, always been kind of a hit or miss thing of whether they have value or they don't. Like serpent swarms, if you've got a Bastillodon with the Ark of Sotek on, and it can create additional swarms, had value, for example. But swarms have always been kind of a bit hit and miss. certainly with me and my army rosters. But these extra rules could give some quite interesting things. Like I say, putting a swarm in between units and not affecting their line of sight is really quite interesting. No one cares, so swarms never cause panic as well in friendly units, regardless what happens to them. So again, using them to do, again, funky move blocking things or protecting a flank. Even if they get destroyed, you don't really care, so that's great. Now, undisciplined, okay, they can't use a general's inspiring presence or a battle standards hold your ground rules, but I'm actually really quite interested in swarms and seeing what sort of funky things can be done with them. Whether it's protecting a flank, whether it's ranging ahead of the army. Say, putting them in front of a unit, to me, seems really quite interesting because it doesn't block the line of sight. So, yeah, swarms, an interesting one. Okay, next up is cavalry. So, cavalry have a split profile, and we've talked about split profiles before, but there's a specific one for cavalry. So, most cavalry, but not all, consist of two models, which is a rider and a mount together, making a single model. To represent this, cavalry models have a split profile. So, unless otherwise noted, any special rules that apply to one element, i.e. the rider or the mount, apply to the other element as well. The rider and mount each use their own weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, initiative, and attacks characteristics, and they use their own weapons. In combat, all enemy to hit rolls are made against the rider's weapon skill. Impact hits and or stomp attacks use the mount's strength. And when this model makes an armor save, use the rider's armor value. If the rider is reduced to 0 wounds, remove the model from play. So, pretty straightforward stuff there. So, light cavalry, and you can see some light cavalry on the right-hand side there, which is some mounted yeomen in Bretonnia. That's 5 models per rank to gain your rank bonus, with a maximum rank bonus of +1, makes sense for cavalry, and a unit strength per model of 2. So they do have split profile cavalry, and they also have the rule cavalry support, which basically means if a cavalry model is able to make a supporting attack, only the rider can attack. So if they've got a weapon that allows them to make supporting attacks, the horses in that second rank cannot attack. Makes sense. Right, next up, heavy cavalry. So models per rank 4, maximum rank bonus +1, unit strength per model is 2. Also have the split profile cavalry and also have the cavalry support. So basically the same as light cavalry, but 1 model less per rank to get that rank bonus. Okay, makes sense. Now, monstrous cavalry, and I've put a gyrocopter in there. You go, why have you put a gyrocopter in there? So a gyrocopter does have the troop type of monstrous cavalry. Now, models per rank is 3, and the maximum rank bonus is +1. And a unit strength per model of 3. And they have the clumsy rule as well, just like the monstrous infantry, which basically means if you want to add a character to the unit, the character also has to have the rule clumsy. Okay, and finally up for this part, we've got war beasts. So models per rank is 5, maximum rank bonus +1. With a unit strength per model of 1, you can see some war beasts there on the right-hand side in the form of some dire wolves. So, undisciplined, a unit with this rule cannot use the general's inspiring presence or a battle standards hold your ground rules, which kind of makes sense given that they're war beasts. There you go, so that brings us, that's the infantry and cavalry part of the troop types in detail. Like I said, this is a repeat in some parts of what we covered earlier, but these extra rules that are in this section are absolutely really important to potentially how you're going to use these troop types, so definitely not one to miss out on. I hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. And as always, if you want to see more content, hit the subscribe button. It takes 5 seconds to do. It's free to do, but it is a big deal for me. So thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Owl, and I'll see you all very soon.